Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are you listening?
Ricky J Sports.
What is going on, my fellow YouTubers? This is Ricky J, baby, from Ricky J Sports, and what you're seeing right now is some EA Sports UFC 2 action, because we're going to compare the submission game in UFC 2 to UFC 3, man. In UFC 2, the submission game, I really thought it was awesome. You really needed a lot of skill to lock in your submissions. As I was facing a Division 8 guy right there, I'm Weidman, getting out of these crazy submission attempts. But in UFC 3, I feel like they've dumbed down the submission mechanic. It's way too easy to submit your opponent, and it's way too hard to get out of submissions. I think they did a great job in UFC 2. Let me know in the comment section below, man, what you think. I'm going to show you some UFC 3 action, but this is where you needed a lot of skill, because it was quick reactions in UFC 2. You really had to anticipate where your opponent was going, and the gates were a lot shorter, so you had to be fast. But let's show you some UFC 3 action. And yeah, it does seem a little slow. I'm getting used to the stand-up game. It's tough. I'm Anthony Pettis right here, and I was, losing this fight, getting rocked. I must have gotten rocked like 10 times against McGregor. But I felt like, you know what, this McGregor's sprinting after me. I felt like I had to change things up. So I had to change things up. I rocked him right there, and then I surprised him with a takedown. Because sometimes when you rock him, your opponent in UFC 3, it's hard to finish. And this is where I know I know the game, because it's the same as UFC 2. And then what I did was got into side control, did one denial, and then locked in a submission right here. And it seemed like it was a lock, man. I didn't feel like my opponent had a chance to get out, because look how far these gates are. So if the EA Sports UFC 3 producers, man, or developers are watching this right now, make these gates a little bit shorter, because, I wasn't even like on high alert right here. I was just kind of moving around, trying to stop my opponent, and the fight ended just like that. And in UFC 2, it was really like intense action when you're trying to stop your opponent. In UFC 3, I feel like they really dumbed it down. Here in another situation right here, I'm Nate Diaz, and I'm just denying my opponent's transitions, trying to deny. I actually don't. And look at this. You're probably saying, oh no, Ricky, man, it's only when your opponent has no stamina where it's really easy. But look at this. My opponent has top stamina. It's on skilled level, and it was only one gate for the jumping guillotine. Remember in UFC 2, it was actually 2 gates. Remember that? And only one gate, which is insane. I really think that's way too easy, making the submission game a little bit too violent, if you know what I mean. You slap on a submission and it's game over. Let me show you one more example right here. I'm Tony Ferguson doing a nice little anaconda. Look at this. Like, how slow are those gates going? So anyway, man, I'll stop complaining about it, but I hope EA Sports fixes it. Maybe make the gates shorter and make the gates move a lot faster, because it's way too easy. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm going to be posting more videos on what I believe they need to improve on, because it is the beta, you know what I mean? So I'm not being, kind of like a know-it-all, but I just want to give them my 2 cents so they could fix some things that I see. So let me know what you think about the submission game. Again, it's way too easy. Got to make it harder, man. In UFC 2, I thought it was great. I thought it was great how you can play that chess match and kind of pick where your opponent's going, predict it, stop it, and submit it, if you know what I mean. But anyhow, people, let me know. This is Ricky J, baby, from Ricky J Sports, and you are awesome.